In this episode, we're going to shift gears from building privacy programs to performing well under exam pressure, because even well-prepared learners can lose points if they do not manage time, uncertainty, and nerves effectively. The goal here is not to memorize more content on exam day, but to bring a calm mental model that helps you triage questions, control your pace, and make confident choices even when you are not 100% sure. Domains 1 through 4 cover a wide range of privacy governance and engineering ideas, so the exam can feel like it is constantly changing topics, which makes it easy to feel mentally scattered. A good mental model acts like a map. It helps you quickly identify what a question is really asking, connect it to the right domain concepts, and avoid traps that come from overthinking. For brand new learners, confidence does not mean you know everything. It means you can make the best decision with the information you have and move forward without spiraling. We will build simple habits for reading, triaging, and answering that keep you steady and efficient from the first question to the last. The first tactic is to decide in advance what calm looks like for you, and to treat calm as part of your score, because exam stress changes how your brain processes information. Under stress, people tend to either rush and misread or freeze and overanalyze, and both patterns waste points. A calm approach starts with accepting that some questions will feel unfamiliar or tricky, and that feeling is normal, not a sign of failure. When a question feels hard, your job is to slow down just enough to read precisely, not to panic and jump to the first plausible option. Calm also comes from knowing that the exam is not asking you to build a full privacy program from scratch. It is asking you to recognize the best answer among options. That means you are often selecting the most defensible, most broadly correct privacy practice, not the perfect solution for a complex real-world organization. This mindset reduces the urge to invent extra requirements that are not in the question. Calm is also supported by small physical behaviors, like steady breathing and a relaxed posture, because they prevent your body from amplifying anxiety. Treat calm as a tool, not a personality trait. Triage is your second tactic, and triage means sorting questions into categories quickly so you spend time where it earns the most points. Think of 3 categories: questions you can answer confidently right now, questions you can probably answer but need a bit more thought, and questions that feel unclear or time-consuming. The goal is not to skip hard questions forever. It is to avoid burning minutes early on a single confusing item while easier points are waiting. A strong triage habit is to give each question an initial pass where you decide which category it belongs to. Then answer the confident ones efficiently, mark the uncertain ones for review, and return later with a clearer head and a better sense of remaining time. This works because your brain often solves problems in the background once you move on, and because later questions can jog your memory. Triage also protects your confidence, because answering a run of easier questions builds momentum and reduces stress. The exam rewards steady accumulation of points, not heroic battles with a single question. Your mental model should make you feel in control of the clock, not chased by it. Time management depends on pacing, and pacing starts with a realistic plan for how you will spend time across the exam. Even without knowing exact timing details here, you can still apply the same principle. Do not let any single question consume a disproportionate share of your available time. A simple pacing rule is to aim for a steady rhythm where you read carefully once, eliminate wrong answers quickly, select, and move on. If you find yourself rereading the same question multiple times with no new insight, that is a signal to mark it and return later. Time is also wasted when you argue with the question, such as thinking the real world is more complicated, because the exam is testing your ability to choose the best answer given the scenario and the standards of the certification. When you see a question that feels broad, look for the core request, such as identify the best next step, choose the strongest control, or select the most appropriate governance action. A calm time model includes permission to move on, because moving on is not giving up. It is investing time where it produces points. You can always return, but you cannot recover minutes spent too early. A core exam skill is reading for intent, because many wrong answers are tempting because they are true statements that are not the best answer to the question being asked. When you read, identify the action verb and the target, such as evaluate, design, monitor, classify, or respond, and whether the question is asking about governance, controls, assessment, or communication. Also notice whether the question asks for the first step, the best control, the most defensible approach, or the most likely risk, because those words change what the correct answer looks like. If the question is about the first step, you usually choose something like define scope, identify data, determine requirements, or map data flows, rather than jumping to implementation. If the question is about choosing a control, you should consider the risk, the data sensitivity, and what control would be most effective and feasible. If the question is about accountability, you look for ownership, documentation, and evidence, not just a statement of policy. This reading approach helps you avoid answers that sound impressive but do not match the intent. It also keeps you anchored to domain thinking rather than surface-level keywords. Because this exam spans domains 1 through 4, another tactic is quickly mapping the question to the domain lens that best fits, even when the scenario includes multiple domains. Domain 1 thinking often involves governance, requirements, roles, accountability, and aligning program decisions to obligations and objectives. Domain 2 thinking often involves the data lifecycle, inventories, classification, and ensuring policies and controls reflect how data actually flows and is retained. Domain 3 thinking often involves privacy by design, assessments, and embedding privacy into systems, processes, and controls during build and change. Domain 4 thinking often involves ongoing operation, monitoring, incident response, vendor oversight, metrics, and continuous improvement. Many questions will touch multiple domains, so you are not forcing a single label. You are choosing the most helpful lens to decide what the best answer should look like. This mapping helps you spot when a question is really about process and governance rather than about a technical safeguard. It also helps you avoid the trap of answering with the wrong level of detail, such as selecting a specific technical tool when the question is about program governance. When you can shift lenses quickly, the exam feels less random and more like variations of familiar patterns. Elimination is one of your highest leverage tactics, because many multiple-choice questions can be solved by removing clearly wrong options even when the correct option is not obvious at first glance. Start by eliminating answers that violate privacy fundamentals, such as collecting more data than needed, keeping data indefinitely without justification, or sharing data without purpose and safeguards. Eliminate answers that are out of sequence, such as implementing a control before identifying requirements or scope when the question asks for the first step. Eliminate answers that are overly absolute, such as claiming a single action guarantees compliance everywhere, because privacy decisions are usually context-driven. Eliminate answers that rely on vague promises like "be careful" without specifying a defensible action, because exams tend to reward accountability and evidence. After elimination, compare the remaining options by asking which one best reduces harm, improves defensibility, and aligns with privacy by design. This method helps you make good choices even when you are uncertain, because you are narrowing to the best available option rather than guessing among 4. It also reduces stress because it gives you a process you can trust. A calm confidence model also includes managing uncertainty, because many learners lose points by changing correct answers due to anxiety. When you choose an answer using your process, you should have a reason, such as it matches the first step, it addresses the stated risk, or it aligns with accountability and evidence. If you later revisit the question, do not change your answer just because another option sounds more detailed or more technical. Change only if you can articulate a clear reason that the original answer does not match the question intent or violates a principle. This protects you from second-guessing spirals, which are often driven by emotion rather than logic. Another uncertainty habit is to avoid adding facts that are not in the question, because adding facts can lead you to choose an answer that solves a different problem. Stay inside the scenario and use broad, defensible privacy best practice reasoning when details are missing. Remember that the exam rewards choosing the best answer, not constructing a perfect policy. Confidence comes from process, not from certainty. Another subtle exam day trap is confusing what is ideal with what is required, and your mental model should help you choose what the exam is likely targeting. If the question is about ensuring compliance or defensibility, the best answer often involves documented requirements, clear ownership, and evidence-based controls. If the question is about privacy by design, the best answer often involves early integration, minimization, and reviewing data flows and purposes before launch. If the question is about vendors, the best answer often involves contract boundaries and monitoring evidence, not only trusting vendor claims. If the question is about incidents, the best answer often involves containment, scoping data impact, and driving remediation, not only writing a notification. The exam often presents options where one is a broad principle statement and another is a concrete governance or control action that operationalizes the principle. Your task is to choose the operationalizing action when the question demands it. This is why being calm matters. Stress pushes people to choose the option that sounds lofty rather than the one that actually solves the problem. A steady mental model guides you to the most defensible action. Finally, confidence and endurance are built by protecting your attention, because long exams can lead to fatigue that causes careless mistakes late. You can protect attention by maintaining a steady pace, using triage to avoid early burnout, and returning to difficult questions with fresh perspective. You can also protect attention by resetting after tough questions, reminding yourself that one hard question does not predict your overall score. When reviewing flagged questions, use the same process. Read for intent, eliminate wrong options, choose the most defensible answer, and avoid overcomplicating. Keep your focus on what the certification is testing across domains 1 through 4. Disciplined governance, life cycle thinking, privacy by design integration, and operational accountability. If you keep returning to those anchors, you will be less likely to chase obscure interpretations. Exam day is not the day to invent new frameworks. It is the day to apply the core ones reliably under time constraints. With this calm, triage, and confidence approach, you can perform closer to your true preparation level.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.